Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, A Magical Life with Ayla. I'm Ayla Hillel, and today we're going to be talking about manufacturing emotions. So let's get started. So ultimately, the purpose for this channel is to help you change up your energy, to help you be in control of your energies. And the way we are in control of our energy is that we are in control of our emotions. So I've talked in the past about how you have to eliminate as much stress, eliminate as much drama, gain a perspective. All of these things I've talked about in the past. The whole purpose of this channel is, yes, energy and vibration, but once you become a master at your energy and your vibration, what do you do with it? The number one thing that you want to spend your energy on is creating your magical, amazing, wonderful life. Okay? So so there's three things. Let me just put it this way, that move our lives, that make up our lives. So the three are money, love, and health. Now, think of any aspect of your life, and I would almost bet that whatever that aspect is would fit into one of those three categories. I've heard magical people say, oh, money is the root of all evil. This is an old idea, old antiquated idea, that basically was designed to help poor people feel better about being poor. But the truth of the matter is I don't believe that we came here to be poor. I don't believe that we came here to be sick. And I don't believe that we came here to be lonely. So what do you do then? If you hold that belief that we came here to experience love and wealth and health, and you're not in those places, what do you do? Well, first of all, I really think that we don't come here in those places. Many of us were born into poverty. Many of us were born with just chronic health issues that just seem to plague us throughout our lives. And many people want for relationships in their life and can't seem to make that happen. I think that we come here with those deficiencies, if you want to call them that, to learn how to create those things in our lives. You're not stuck with that. Just because you've always had bad luck with relationships doesn't mean you're stuck with that. And it doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. I know people who are just like, I don't understand why I can't seem to create these relationships in my life that I want. Something must be wrong with me. Get rid of that. First of all, get rid of that, because whatever your personality, whatever your personal constitution, whatever it is that makes up you, you're going to find somebody that jives with that. Remember what Dr. Seuss said, we're weird. We come here and we're weird, and we find somebody that is compatible with our weirdness, and we fall into mutual weirdness, and we call it love. So don't ever think that, well, I'm weird. I'm so weird nobody's ever going to want me. Get rid of that first. Get your drama under control, get your emotional healing done, and then it's time to create your life. But if you've always struggled for money and you want to create wealth in your life, how do you do that? If you've always had little chronic illnesses, but you want to be well, you want to create wellness or healing in your life, how do you do that? If you've always been alone, maybe you've had, relationships here and there, that just never really seem to work out, but you'd love to have that one. How do you do that? So the first thing that we have to do is all that other stuff, all the videos before this. You got to go back and review all those videos and make sure everything's in check. I have talked before about how magic happens in our life, manifesting. You don't have to call it magic. Manifesting happens in your life because of what we think, say, and do. Now, of those three things, what do you think is most important? The thinking part, the saying part, or the doing part? Which of those do you think is most important? Think for a minute. Say the answer out loud to yourself. I'm going to give you the answer. The most important of thinking, saying, and doing is the thinking part. Why? The most important part is the thinking part because that's where everything begins. This is where you set your vibration for what you are trying to create in your life. So let's say that you want to be healthy. Okay? Identify some things in your life that need to change in order for you to be healthy. I've told you guys many times that I'm a sugar addict. Sugar causes me health issues. I am not healthy when I'm eating sugar on a daily basis. So, and I even have to not just watch my sugar, bread, pasta, that sort of thing. I have to watch that as well. So the first thing is the thought. You're going to have that thought. And how are you going to have that thought? How are you going to manufacture an emotion with your thought? You're going to see yourself healthy. You're going to see yourself partaking of the foods that are going to make you healthy. You're going to see yourself not drinking and not smoking, and by all means not doing drugs, because that doesn't help your health at all. So you start to have the Abrahams call it filling in the grid. So you start filling in the grid. So when you first start having the thoughts of a healthy life that are going to affect your emotions, it feels kind of strange. It feels kind of shallow. It feels kind of shallow. And you feel like, well, this isn't doing anything. It's not doing anything. You can't have one thought and think that you're going to change your world. You may have to have that thought every single day for a year before you even start to see things changing for you. But okay, in a year, you're going to be a year older anyway. Time is going to be a year forward anyway. Time is going to have moved on anyway. What are you going to do with your time? You can squander that time away, or you can use that time creating your health. Now, the thought is what's going to create the emotion, and the emotion creates the vibration and that energy that's going to start to move you forward. So one of the things that's helpful, a tool when you are beginning to manifest your reality, is a journal. Write in your journal, I want to be healthy. Here's how I define health. here's what I'm going to do to bring this about, because part of the equation is doing, right? Here's my affirmations for bringing about my healthy body, because my mind is starting to be healthy. I've been doing all of this healing. I've been doing all these practices, and my mind is starting to be healthy. Now I want my body to be healthy. Now, a certain amount of health in your body is going to fall into line as your mind gets well, because we know that the body belongs to the mind. So as you begin your practices, as you begin your healing journey, as you begin to move through all of that, a certain amount of healing is going to come in your body. Now, some of it you're going to have to do deliberately. You're going to have to willfully and deliberately go to that place. But don't go to that place of exercising and eating right without getting your mind behind it. I'm a Libra. Libras are air signs, and air signs are stuck in their head. We spend a lot of time in our head. If you're, and that doesn't mean if you're an earth sign, if you're a fire sign, if you're a water sign, that doesn't mean that you can't be in your head. It just means you water signs, you're in your heart. Okay, so you really got to pull those thoughts out to affect your heart. You air sign, earth signs, you make up your mind what you're doing and you go for it. There is no questioning what it is that you're doing. So the first thing that you want to do in the manufacturing of emotions is start to have those thoughts. And like I said, the journal is helpful. Now, let me say this about thoughts and feelings, that the Abrahams say that you only have to have a pure positive thought 17 seconds, not minutes, 17 seconds. Okay? That is not very long. If you can hold that pure positive thought for 17 seconds, then you have begun to imprint that into your subconscious and your higher mind, that I am no longer unhealthy. I am a healthy human being. I have healthy practices. I have a healthy mind which helps my body to and supports my body to be healthy. Okay? 17 seconds a day. And 17 seconds. You can do it numerous times throughout the day. You can do it once a day. And what do I mean by pure positive thought? Now, we need to be careful with words like pure. I grew up with this word in the religion that I grew up with, and they were always talking about purity. And nobody could ever tell me definitively what that was. So in this instance, under this topic, I'm going to tell you what pure positive thought is. Pure means that it's uncontradicted. Okay? I know so many people that want to create wealth in their life. We are all deserving of wealth. You never have to stop for a minute and think, well, do I really deserve that? That's a contradicted thought. I want the wealth. I want it. But I don't know if I deserve it. I want the wealth, but I don't know how to create that in my life. It is not your job to know how to create it. Your job is to hold the vibration of the thought, which is going to cause an energy in your heart that's going to go out into the universe, and it's going to ripple like rings when you throw a rock into the water. It's going to ripple out. And then have you ever watched what happens when the rings get to the edge of the pond? They start rippling back, don't they? That's what happens in the universe. It's like you send out this energy, you send out this vibration, and the universe hears it. And the universe doesn't go, oh, we're not gonna give that to him or her because they're just not ready for it. The universe doesn't decide if you're ready for something or not. if this is something you have in your heart, if it's a job, a new job, if it's wealth, if it's health, if it's a relationship, you're ready for it. But you have to believe that with all of your heart. There can be no contradictions. And this is hard for you folks who have gone without a relationship for a period of time, because after a certain period of time, many people start to think, well, I'm just not lovable. That's what it is. I'm just not lovable. And that is so not true. What is true is you haven't met the person that you're vibing with yet. Okay, that's why people hang out together, is because they have a complementary vibe with one another. So if you've gone a while without a relationship, you just haven't met the person that you're vibing with. Okay, you start that process by thinking, what does that relationship look like to you? Create images in your head. If you paint a picture. If you sculpt what that looks like of your ideal relationship. I'm a daydreamer, so I can just daydream about it. You can daydream about it. You can have those thoughts that make your heart feel excited. Once your heart feels excited, that's the first piece of the puzzle. And every day you're going to have that thought. You're going to have that little visualization. You're going to have that little, the word visualization is really hard sometimes. What it is, basically, it's a daydream or a fantasy. A fantasy is nothing more than a very strong daydream. And when I say fantasy, people look at me funny because they think they equate fantasy with something sexual. No, fantasy is just a really powerful daydream. So maybe when we first start putting those puzzle pieces in, we can call that a daydream. After a while, though, after the puzzle pieces are starting to be more and more placed into the puzzle, and you're starting to see more of the picture, then we can call it a fantasy, because that's a really powerful place. It takes time. It takes time to manufacture emotions. It takes time to come up with, to decide what we really want. You know, there's this scene in The Secret. I love this movie. And the guy goes out and he gets his mail, and he comes in and he's sitting in his chair going through his mail. And you can hear the narrator in the background talking about how it takes a little bit of time to manifest what we want. And she says, actually, that works to our advantage. Think about this. And so he comes across a piece of mail. I don't know what it was, but it involved an elephant. And it may have been a piece of mail advertising a African safari or something like that. But there was an elephant. And all of a sudden, there's this elephant standing in the room pooping on his floor. Because they were trying to make a point that if every single thing we thought about manifested instantly, we'd be in trouble. We would be in trouble. So it takes a while. It takes a while to fill all of those puzzle pieces in, to fill that grid in. And to really, as you are having your daydream, you'll notice this. When you first start having your daydreams, it's almost like you're not really certain. You know what you think you want. You think you know what you want, but there's a whole bunch of details that you didn't consider. So as every day, as you start to have your daydream, you start to feel the emotion behind that daydream. You know your manifesting is working. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You start to learn. As you do this process every day, you start to learn what it is exactly that you want. At first you think I want a house. I want my family to have a house. I want a house that's got this many rooms and this many bathrooms in it. I want it in this area in town, or maybe I want it out of town. And as you start to visualize that every day, you start to visualize the beautiful kitchen and cooking dinners for your family in this kitchen, and your kids moving in and out, and you and your spouse sitting at the table in the morning having coffee, you start to realize, oh, there's a detail I hadn't considered. I want that detail in this daydream. So you start including that. As you move on in time, doing your process every morning, you start to realize, oh, I want the bathroom to look like this, or I want my bedroom to look like this. I want yards. What kind of yards do you want? Do you want a big backyard and a smaller front yard? Do you want big backyard and big front yard? I mean, what do you want? And so as you move forward in the manufacturing of this emotion through your daydreams and creating that vibration and that energy, you are afforded, because things don't happen instantly, you are afforded the time to fill in the grid with all of the beautiful little details that you want. So that's one thing. Now, another thing that I want to say about how to manufacture emotions is that we already know that a positive attitude is kind of the lubricant for manufacturing your reality, right? For creating your reality. So if you're in a positive state of mind most of the time, that is extremely helpful. But looking at things that make you feel good, looking at videos, looking at pictures. There are YouTube videos where the entire video is made up of a stack of money. If you look at that and you get this feeling like, oh my gosh, that would be so amazing. Yeah, that is sending out a vibration. If you watch a movie about somebody who overcomes an illness or overcomes some sort of physical diversity, that's probably not the right word, physical obstacle, that is, you're going to have those emotions. You're going to be rooting for that person. They're getting healthy. They're getting well. They're overcoming this obstacle. That's also creating that energy and that vibration that you need to create the thing that you're creating. Okay, so that's another way to manifest or manufacture emotions. Okay, writing is a good way. Writing down what you're feeling, writing down what you're manifesting, what you're working on manifesting, having conversations with another person who understands manifesting, who understands because while we're manifesting, we want to think and feel and do as much in the positive, in the present as we possibly can. You want to be in the present. So you don't want to say, one day I'm going to be wealthy. Look around in your life. You're already wealthy. You're already wealthy. Today I am wealthy. Today I have all the money that I need. And you already know this. If you've looked at anything on the internet about manifesting, they say you have to manifest in the present moment. And that's what this video is all about, really, because there's lots of times that we need to manifest wealth in our life, and we are down in the dungeon financially. And so it's like, how do you get from down in the dungeon to a place where you can actually create that wealth in your life? And that's what this video is about. So daydreaming and journaling and watching and having conversation, watching videos, having conversations with people. These are all the things that help shift your vibration so that you can manifest what it is you're trying to. It's hard. It's really hard when you're sick. Maybe you're lying in a hospital bed with something very scary, and this crazy chick on YouTube comes on and says, well, just see yourself healthy. There's a science to it, but it's hard. It's hard to be in bed and be ill and trying to get yourself out of that place. And lots of times what happens is our body responds to our thoughts. That's part of it. Another thing that happens is that if you're trying to create wealth, if you're trying to create a thing in your life, not love and not health, but actually a thing, is that there will be a sequence of events. And the whole thing will seem completely natural. But what's behind that sequence of events is your energy and your vibration. Okay? So this is how we manufacture emotions that we don't know how to have. There was a time when we were struggling really hard for money, and I told William, I said, we are rich, and we are going to live like rich people. The first thing I did, now see, you have to define this for yourself. What does that look like for you? What does living like a rich person look like for you? For me, and this is just for me, the first thing I did was get rid of our television, because we spent way too much time in front of that television, occupying our mind with things that were not wealthy. I had my own idea of what my life would be like if I was wealthy. So I got rid of our television. The next thing was we started eating our meals at the table. I would put a tablecloth on the table. I would light candles at the table, and we would have nice, relaxing meals, because to me, that felt rich. I kept my house clean all the time. And when I cleaned my house, I had thoughts of having a person come in every week and helping me clean my house. I went to work. I learned how to manage my money in such a way that felt wealthy to me. I realized right away the things that were a priority: rent or house payment, food, electricity. These things are priorities, And so I began to think, as I was doing, I began to think in terms of, this feels rich. I'm going to do what is rich. I'm going to do what is wealthy. I'm going to do what makes me feel like I have all of the resources for everything I could ever need. Now that's the doing part, but the doing part was very much backed up with those thoughts. And then William and I would have conversations. He knew what I was doing. I had found a CD of music that had, what is it called? They were playing the message in the background of the music. You couldn't hear the message. All you heard was the music, but the message was there, and it was speaking to your subconscious, and it was all about being wealthy. It was affirmations that were playing in the background of this music all the time. And so as we went about our day, we eat, we clean house, we do whatever we need to do, this music is playing in the background. Okay, so that's another tool that our actions and our words follow closely behind the beginning process of the thoughts. So, if I had to say one of them was more important than the other, I would say the thoughts, because that's the beginning place. But trust me when I tell you that there is a vellum between thoughts, words, and actions that is thin as a hair. It is as thin as a hair. That's how important all three of those are. And if you're having all of these squishy thoughts and uh, coincidental emotions, but you're not backing it up with your words and your actions, it's going to be difficult. Now, I believe that our thoughts are just that powerful, that you can change your entire life by having your thoughts. You're going to see those sequences of events happening. You're going to move forward in what's offered to you by the universe. But getting your words and your actions in alignment with those thoughts is very powerful. Once all three aspects are on the same page, are in alignment with each other, I mean, if you're trying to create health and you're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, it's like, and the flip side of that is you may be having I've heard smokers say, this is disgusting, I want to quit. It's so hard, it's so hard to quit, and I want to quit because I think it's just gross. And then things start happening. There becomes this sequence of events that allows this person to get into a situation where they just quit smoking. At that point, they are ready to move on into their health. They are ready to move on. So I hope that with all of my talking in circles, I hope that you can see how you can manifest. I mean, I know it feels superhuman. And in the beginning of manifesting emotions or manufacturing emotions that you do not have, you don't even know how to relate to, I know it can seem very strange. I know that it can seem shallow and foreign, but this is the beginning place. It's okay to have a beginning place. And you're going to come to that place every day where you have those daydreams and those fantasies. You're going to come to that place every day, and it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good to spend moments and minutes in that place every day. So don't be afraid of the starting place. Don't be afraid of that shallow place in the beginning where you open your eyes and nothing happens. Don't be afraid of that. That's your place. That beginning place of daydreams is your place where you get to find all of the little puzzle pieces, all of the little details that make up your actual outcome that you are creating. And you get to fill those details into your puzzle. So that's all I have to say about that today. I hope this is helpful. And if you have questions for me, you can post your questions down below. You can also send me a private email on my website. My email is amagicallifewithayla@gmail.com. Go to my website. If you click on contact, you can contact me that way, and you don't even have to send me an email. But I can answer questions. If you have questions, I would love to answer your questions. The website is amagicallifewithayla.com. And I have a subscriber box there. And if you want to subscribe, there's also a disclaimer there where I talk about how I will not send you more than 2 emails a month. And one of those emails is a newsletter. So go ahead and go over there and subscribe. And that's all I have to say. And you have a wonderful day. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Blessed be.